Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead. Sorry about the angle of the camera. Did the best I could on it. This is a collaboration with City Girl Homesteading on, I think the name of it is going to be called Thankful Thursday. And we're just going to be sharing what we are thankful for. It could be in the middle of doing whatever our daily chores are, or we could be making a video, making something and just share something, or we can just sit and talk to you and share with you what we are thankful for. I think this is a very good thing to do with all the chaos and the uncertainty in the world, and just to share some inspiration with others to maybe encourage them to think about what they have in their life and to be thankful for what those things are that maybe they hadn't never really thought of was something to be thankful for. My little slogan is there's always, always, always something to be thankful for. Always. We do. We have so much to be thankful for. Even whenever we think it's horrible, you can always find something to be thankful for. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can just be a small thing. I'm thankful for the elders in my life. I was not raised with grandparents in my life very much. I had a grandfather in my life. Did not have much women influence in my life. So I am very grateful for the grandparents that I did have, mostly the grandpas, the male people in my life. There wasn't a lot of women at all. In my younger years, I did have great grandparents that were extremely hungo homesteaders. I don't remember the exact number, but there was a range of around 13 children, and this was back in the 50s, and let's see, was it the 50s and 60s? Yes, around the 50s and the 60s. So they were already an inspiration to me. They died when I was around 10 or 11, but I vividly remember going to their house and enjoying home-cooked meals, old-fashioned picnics at family reunions, seeing my mama canning stuff, growing stuff in the garden. They had a small little homestead. This was before homesteading on an acre or two was even a thing that people just think is something new today. But they raised a huge family on just a couple of acres of land. They raised cattle, they raised pigs, and they grew and raised everything that the family ate. They had multiple little gardens. I had a kitchen garden. Both very hard workers, had a large family. I can just remember the smell of all the foods cooking and canning, and always home cooked foods. So I think that was probably my earliest memory of being exposed to what homesteading was really all about. And then later on in life, my grandpa on my mother, that was my mother's, which was my great-grandmother, the mama that I was just talking about, and then my mother's father lived in a homesteading area, which now looking back on it as a child going to visit him, I am very grateful and very thankful for the experience, even though as a child you didn't realize what you were experiencing. But when we went to see him, he lived around in a rural area. A lot of his wives, it was not my grandma, it was his late wife, had adult children. A lot of them worked at a local dairy farm, which was just a hop, skip, and a jump from his house. So it was always fun for us to go down there and hang out at the dairy barn and mess with the cows and help milk and round up cows. Just a kid tromping around in rubber boots. I remember it was so much fun. It was stinky, but I didn't care. I loved it. And then just they had another house back behind his house that had a sewer pond, and they always told us don't go by the fence, don't go close to it because it was dangerous. You know, it was a sewer pond, and it was back before people even, I guess people that have sewer systems never heard of it. And sometimes you see it in big commercial places. I can't think of the name that you call it right now. Can't call it. Um, but the cool thing about that pond was they had goats in there. So every chance I would get, I would go over there and go try to get some grass or something and feed the goats. So I'd always sneak off over there and try to feed the goats, even though we were told not to go by the fence, by the pond, because it was a poo pond, so it wasn't like something you wanted to go into. But they kept the goats in there, and it had a hill around the pond, and the goats kept the weeds down, and I guess it provided some very fertile weeds and grass and stuff for the goats. So I can remember this from way, way, way back, being thankful when I went to my grandpa's house so I could go see these goats, because we didn't have any goats, and we didn't have cows, and we weren't around anyone that had anything like that. So I'm very thankful for those elders, my grandparents and my great-grandparent. Um, Now my grandmother, my mother's mother, has always been a little different. Um, and I'm not saying that to be ugly or to be rude or disrespectful. Love her dearly. But there's never been much of a close relationship with her, with the grandchildren. I think now that she's older and having a few issues, some of her adult children, my parent, her other daughters are hopefully coming to her aid now that she's getting older in life. But it's definitely was not raised around my grandmother. Um, and I didn't have much women influence growing up. And even with my mother, she was working and busy, and just told us kids early on that she wasn't going to be the kind of grandma that just sits around the house and rocks grandkids all day. So we pretty much knew we were on our own once we were grown. And that's her choice. That's her business. That's totally fine. But it's just amazing how grateful I am in my life, because in my later years, into my 20s and well, my 30s, um, I was a young mom and raising my son, and did not have that motherly influence. But the amazing thing about it was I had some older people in the church and in the neighborhood, and I guess they knew that I didn't have a motherly influence or a grandparent influence, grandmother influence, and I become very good friends with them and very inspired by them, and just unbelievable. You know, the relationship that we've had. One is Miss Marguerite. She's since passed on. Very lovely lady. I've learned a lot from her. She just tucked me under her wing. Um, Aunt Nell, which is my ex-husband's aunt, which that family of his has tucked me under their wing and still accepts me just as I am family. It's the same with my son. They have just treated us marvelous through the years. Aunt Nell has really been a big inspiration to me in my life. She's just very plain and very simple, hardworking. She is getting on up there in age, and she is having some current health problems right now, which is kind of scary because she's in her 90s. But definitely has been a huge influence to me in my life, so I'm very grateful and thankful for her and all of those women. And then, like I said, I didn't have the motherly influence, even though I am a very motherly person, very instinctively motherly person. I've always been the big sister. I am the big sister. I've always looked out for everyone and helped everyone that I possibly could. And for that, I know they're all very grateful. But another one of the role models and person that I'm very thankful for is a very dear friend of mine named Miss Angela. They do have a YouTube channel where they share preaching and Bible studies, women's Bible studies, men's Bible studies, and I believe it's called Shepherd's Hill. I met them probably 15, 16 years ago. They had a homesteader weekend at their house, and we went and did that with them and learned a whole bunch of stuff. I don't think they're currently doing anything like that anymore. Their family has gotten really, really big, and all their children are having children, and they have large families. So they're pretty busy with family life right now. Um, but Miss Angela is amazing. If I ever have any kind of problems or just need to talk to someone, she's always been that person. That is an actual person that I've actually met and have talked to and been inspired by. Very godly Christian woman. She'll help me any way she possibly can, and I'm very grateful for her. And she knows that. We message and we talk back and forth, and all of these women know that I am very grateful for them and very thankful for them and very inspired by them, because I didn't have much women influence in my life. So I am very thankful for the women that God has put in my life since I was an adult. So most of the stuff that I know and that I've teach and share and share with everyone on my YouTube channel is stuff that I've learned on my own. I didn't have the luxury of in the kitchen cooking with Mama every night and learning all of her special recipes, although I did learn a few recipes through the years. So, but things are just different. It's not how I expected it to be as a grown-up whatsoever. Whenever my son is here, we do a lot of hands-on with him and with the grandkids, and always try to share everything. And he doesn't live close, so I wish they did. If they ever move back, it's probably going to be just wonderful. But he moved off for a better job, so that's great. That's how it works. Kids grow up, leave home. Um, so I think I just wanted to share the importance of being thankful and grateful for the older people and the role models that I've had in my life. Like I said, whenever there was an empty space there, God just put someone else in place, and they became just a very good inspiration to me. And I've also had some people, some snide remarks like, oh, well, I guess those people do love you because, you helped them, or you built stuff for them, or you cleaned their house, or you take them to the doctor. Well, I think they missed the whole entire point completely. These people, that was a short period of time that I helped a few people when I was able to help people, to do some house cleaning or run some errands. We built a lifelong relationship that continued beyond them needing my help or me providing a service to them. So it's just a shame, that there is a whole nother world of people outside of your comfort zone, your family circle, your family of friends, within your own community. So I'm here to tell you, don't worry about that stuff. There's a whole nother world out there that is a loving and caring people that will wrap their arms around you and love you and share with you and be grateful to have you in their life. I think sometimes people, they get feeling like they're in a trap and that this is all they have, this is all they know. Um, YouTube has definitely opened up a whole new world for me. I've met a whole lot of wonderful people and a lot of women. I've never had a lot of women influence, but it's been actually amazing. I am so thankful and so grateful for these women. Um, and some I have actually met in person. Some I actually call and talk to on the telephone. Imagine that. And text each other. So I am very, very, very grateful for the women that I've come in contact with, that God has put in my path, and we have crossed paths, and we've developed these relationships. And I think it's important, especially later on in life. Kids leave home, grandparents pass, parents pass, and you need someone to talk to, and you need someone that you can have a relationship with that understands you and that cares about you, and just sometimes someone just to listen, and for you to be a good listener too. So I think it just helps, and it's the way God wants it to be. He doesn't intend for us to be alone or be lonely. And the YouTube has really inspired me way beyond my wildest dreams of even thinking that this was such a thing, that you actually could meet people and develop relationships with them. So for that, I am very grateful. This was week 1 of the Thankful Thursday Collab. I hope I haven't gone off too long and lost a few of you. Just sharing my experience and things from my life and what I'm very thankful for. And I look forward to seeing what others are thankful for. And I'm sure they're going to inspire me, and I hope that I am inspiring others to really think about what, even the simple things that may be overlooked, that maybe they didn't think about things from their childhood that has actually developed them into who they were today. So that's all for today. So farewell, Homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.